Let's grade the Eagles after the first week of free agency. What's going on, guys? It's Sacred Eagle, and today it's been a week since free agency began, and I'm going to take the time right here, right now, to make this video and grade some of the biggest moves that the Eagles have made this offseason. I'm going to miss some, and if I do, I apologize. Tell me in the comments what you think about all the moves the Eagles have made. And yeah, let's get right into it. This is all based off of my opinion. I've seen a lot of articles the past couple of days grading Alshon Jeffery, Torrey Smith, bringing back Nick Foles, stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about those three and a couple of others, of course. So we'll start off with the biggie, and that was signing Alshon Jeffery. Now, you all know how I feel about this move. I feel it was a great move to help Carson Wentz get somebody with the potential and the skill that he's never had before. And he might not get the chance to play with ever again. You never know what the future has in store. But bringing in Alshon Jeffery as your number one wide receiver was a big move. I'm going to give it a solid A-, due to the fact that it doesn't lock him down long term, but at the same time it gives the Eagles some leverage as to if they want to bring him back or not, so they don't have to deal with him for more than a year if he decides to not play his heart out, not give up everything he can to, deserve that big deal. So in the end, they made a smart move, and it also helps when you have a young quarterback that's about to be one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, in Carson Wentz, leading your offense. It helps a lot, especially with Alshon Jeffery's past. He's been dealing with Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Brian Hoyer, a handful of veteran quarterbacks that cannot get the job done in a really, really broken team, which was the Chicago Bears for the past couple of years. There's a downside, though, of course. There's the issue with him in his injuries, but he's saying that he feels just as good as he did back when he was drafted, so I'm holding on to that, and I'm going to have faith that he can help this team win a championship. The next big signing happened before Alshon Jeffery, and that was Torrey Smith, former wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, and a Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. This is a pretty mediocre signing. We all know that. We don't know exactly if Torrey Smith has the same exact speed that he did 5 years ago, or if he's washed up, if he isn't the same. He's saying he hasn't missed a step. He's saying that that he can do exactly what he did in the past, right here, right now, and that he's happy to be in Philadelphia for hopefully 3 years. So I'm holding on to that. I have faith in him. I have faith in a lot of the young guys and the older guys that we have at wide receiver now. So Torrey Smith signing, I'm going to give it a solid B. Because it gives Carson Wentz a deep threat, somebody that the defense might have to take their, have to focus on more than just Alshon Jeffery or Jordan Matthews or Carson Wentz himself. Gives him more opportunities down the field, helps stretches the field out, more plays to help confuse the defense and help, spread out the field in general, like I've previously stated, and it gives Carson Wentz just more of an opportunity to strive, to thrive, and give up the best potential and give up the best he can to get these wins. The next signing was of Chance Warmack. He was a Tennessee Titan, and he signed with the Eagles for 1 year. This is a good move because it helps us get some depth at offensive line. Jason Kelce has been on the trade block. Lane Johnson has had some suspension issues. Our offensive line in general has had some injury issues ever since 2013. That's really when the injuries at offensive line started to pile up. But it helps get us this depth that we need, and he's a solid backup or starter, depending on what we're going to do with him. I'm still not too sure with him, but I give it a good B+, because, like I said, depth, and it helps keep our offensive line strong. and that's something that we need. Last year, you saw when Lane Johnson went away, injuries started to pile up on offensive line. We started to be inconsistent on offensive line. We started to make silly mistakes at offensive line. Jason Peters and Jason Kelce couldn't do everything. Alan Barber went down. It was bad last year, especially in the middle of the year after we beat Atlanta. It started to go downhill. So getting Chance Warmack and re-signing an offensive lineman, or I can't remember his name. It might be somewhere up here if I remember. We signed him back for a 3-year deal, so offensive line is looking really good. We don't have to worry about that in the draft just yet. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Maybe draft a young guy, like in the 6th, 5th, 4th round, somewhere around there. That's completely fine with me, but I wouldn't focus too much on offensive line. Overall, offensive line is pretty solid. Nick Foles, former quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, the St. Louis, now Los Angeles Rams, and the Kansas City Chiefs, returns to Philadelphia on a 2-year deal. This was a good move. I give it an A-, A- to B+, because he's, one, familiar with the system, and 2, he's a solid backup. We've seen him when he went 27-2, and people argue the fact that he's washed up, he's not the same quarterback. Doesn't necessarily matter to me because we saw him struggle in 2014 before he broke his collarbone, but he still led us to what, a 6-1, 7-2 start to that season before Mark Sanchez had to come in when he got injured at Houston. That's when the season started to go down, and he's in reality he's a solid quarterback. The attitude, his character, is something that I've always respected, and I've loved him so much for it. Ever since he came in 2012 as a rookie over an injured Michael Vick against, I believe it was Tampa Bay and a few other teams, I liked his style, and I liked the way he carried himself on the field. Sure, he didn't have that energy that Tom Brady has. He wasn't, he doesn't have the most powerful arm. He doesn't throw like this bullet pass that Carson Wentz, Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning used to or can throw, but he still got the job done. He led us to the last playoff game here in the Link. That was, 2-point loss to the Saints before they started to go downhill. So in the end, it was a great decision to bring back somebody who's familiar to the organization, to the system, a familiar face to the fans. Some of the fans never wanted to see go. So bringing him back is a good thing. And it also brought an even better thing. Quarterback Chase Daniel got cut. You all know how I feel about Chase Daniel. Ever since we traded Sam Bradford, if you haven't seen that video, I reacted the way I reacted because they were announcing that Chase Daniel was going to be the starter because of Carson Wentz's injury and everything that he suffered in the preseason. I was freaking out because I did not want to see Chase Daniel lead this team on the field against Cleveland come September 11th, 2016. I'm so happy that it didn't happen that way. I was concerned for Carson Wentz, but seeing Chase Daniel play in the preseason really made me want him to leave, and the fact that we overpaid him so much and he took up so much in our cap made me want him to go even more. I can't believe an 8-year veteran that hasn't barely thrown anything in an NFL football game, a regular season game, is getting this much money from the Philadelphia Eagles just for sitting there with a clipboard doing nothing. That's all I have to say about him, and I'm glad that he's gone. Lastly, I'm going to touch on Connor Barwin because word just got out today that he signed a 1-year deal with Los Angeles, and I couldn't be happier for him. He deserves it. All in all, or I didn't grade Nick Foles, did I? I'm sorry. Nick Foles gets an A. Cutting Chase Daniels gets an A+, and Connor Barwin's cut gets a B+ because he didn't fit the system, but now he's with Los Angeles, a team that he could fit with. I think it was a great move in the end, and it was a respectful way to say goodbye to such a great person, to such a great player. In the end, this offseason, this free agency has been really solid, and I'm really happy with Howie Roseman, the entire staff, the GM, everybody has done a great job with who they have signed, who they have cut, and Everything has gone really well, and I can't wait for the draft. Last year was one thing with Carson Wentz being a rumor, and we managed to pull it off. This year at number 14, we have many options at corners, at running backs, offensive linemen, linebackers, pass rushers, everything. Everything, especially on defense, we have a shot at, and it's going to be good. I have a lot of hope for this upcoming season, so tell me in the comments down below, guys, what do you guys think of all the moves that the Eagles have made, and are you excited for the draft? Subscribe for more content. I make Eagles videos every single day. I apologize that this video got out so late. I was once again busy with school and stupid stuff that I could not avoid, so expect another video tomorrow afternoon. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. Fly, Eagles, fly, and have a great Thursday.